Excellent.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, yeah.
You are listening to the Wow Pod. I'm Betsy.
And I'm Jared. And tonight we are going to be chatting about... Oh, into the screen. We didn't double check that.
Sliding around.
We're going to be chatting about...
the doomsday clock.
Yes.
So... the reason we're chatting about the doomsday clock tonight is because as of January 23rd, a mere week ago, this clock, this hypothetical clock that measures the nearness of our next Armageddon, is now been moved to 100 seconds from midnight.
90.
This says 100, but...
Does it say 100?
Yeah, it could be 90. It's like really close.
Yeah. Closest it's ever been.
Yeah, so this is kind of humanity's headlong dash toward our own destruction, marked in minutes and seconds of this ticking of this hypothetical doomsday clock.
Well, real quick, Betsy, tell us about who sets the clock. Where's the clock? Give us a little bit of history.
Okay, so the doomsday clock is a symbol, not an actual clock. It represents the likelihood for human-made global catastrophe. So this is not like natural disasters or meteor strikes or anything like that. This is human-made global catastrophe. And it is an opinion set by the members of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists. This is a group that has been maintained since 1947, and the clock is a metaphor for threats to humanity from unchecked scientific and technological advances. So this hypothetical global catastrophe is represented by a clock, and midnight on the clock that's it. So... the main factors that influence this clock are nuclear risk, Russia and Ukraine, and climate change, which on its face doesn't feel like human-made, but it has been kind of morphed into human-made climate change. So this bulletin's Science and Security Board monitors new developments worldwide in the life sciences and technology fields, and they determine which of these could inflict irrevocable harm to humanity. So this clock's original setting in 1947 was 7 minutes to midnight. It has been set backward.
Now, that was, just a couple years after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the realism that nuclear bombs had been let off. Yeah.
So we have the development of the nuclear bomb, the testing of the nuclear bomb, but what really incites this metaphorical clock is the actual detonation of these nuclear weapons.
So, okay, what was the setting again in 47?
47, it was 7 minutes to midnight.
And it was probably that far out because we were the only ones that had it.
Correct. 2 years later, though, it was 3 minutes to midnight when the Soviet Union tests its first atomic bomb. So we've got this nuclear arms race that's kind of kicking off. So then it's 3 minutes to midnight. 1953, it goes down to 2 minutes to midnight when the United States tests its first thermonuclear device in November of 1952 as part of Operation Ivy. So this remains until 2018, the closest the clock ever gets is 2 minutes to midnight. 1960, it goes back up to 7 minutes to midnight in response to a perception of increased scientific cooperation. The United States and the Soviet Union cooperate to avoid direct confrontation in the Suez Crisis, the Second Taiwan Strait Crisis, the Lebanon Crisis. So this cooperation allows the Soviet and American scientists to interact, so the clock gets set back a little further, back to its originating 7 minutes. Then we have the Partial Test Ban Treaty of 1963, which takes it all the way up to 12 minutes to midnight. Safest we've been.
Okay.
1968, the involvement of the United States in the Vietnam War intensifies. The Indonesian-Pakistani War takes place, the 6-Day War. And so they take us back down to 7 minutes because retrospectively, they start to assert themselves as global players in these nuclear arms race. So looking at kind of the tempo, we go back down to 7 minutes.
So it's kind of the scientists are using the tool in their toolbox to try to direct and adjust
accordingly.
Events.
Yes.
Okay.
So they're taking this kind of temperature worldwide when it comes to these human-made, weapons of mass destruction, and they're taking into account both treaties, our involvement, other countries' involvement, and the way that they are coalescing or cooperating with one another. 1969, we have 3 minutes added because every nation in the world, with notable exceptions of India, Israel, and Pakistan, signs the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty.
Which means that if they have nuclear weapons, they are not going to sell or train other countries in how to get those.
Correct. 1974 goes back down to 9 because India tests a nuclear device, the Smiling Buddha. And
yeah, just give me a minute.
I love it.
They named it the Smiling
It's called
Buddha.
the Smiling Buddha.
Oh.
And
that's because Pakistan
yes,
had it. And India and Pakistan in the, was it the 30s or the 50s, whatever, they had been broken apart by Great Britain just to cause peace between the Hindus and the Muslims.
Yep.
And that's the only reason, because they had traditionally, the Brahmins came in and took over India, and the Muslims ruled the Indians. Was it the Brahmins? No, the Brahmins were the priests of the Hindu class. The Mughals came in and took over India, and then caused an Islamic rule over a Hindu, and did what all rulers do. They didn't always treat him kindly.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of revenge, a lot of murder over that through the early 1900s and late 1800s.
Yep. Then we go back down to 7 minutes in 1980 as a result of the Soviet-Afghan War.
Mm-hmm.
So 1981, the clock is adjusted early in 1981. Again, kind of this residual from the Soviet war in Afghanistan. And U.S. President at the time, Jimmy Carter, withdraws the United States from the Olympic Games in Moscow. Mm-hmm. Ronald Reagan becomes president of the United States and scraps further arms reduction talks with the Soviet Union and argues that the only way to end the Cold War is to win it. Mm-hmm. So these tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union contribute to this danger of deployment of nuclear annihilation. And we're at 4 minutes to midnight at this point. 1984, we've got this further escalation of tensions between the United States and Soviet Union. We've got this intensifying of the Cold War with the ongoing Soviet-Afghan War. And this intensifying also intensifies the arms race between the superpowers. The Soviet Union and its allies, except Romania, boycott the Olympic Games in Los Angeles as a response to the U.S. boycott to the previous Olympics. Mm-hmm. So now we're 3 minutes to midnight. So December 1987, the clock is moved back another 3 minutes to 6 minutes because the Soviet Union and the United States signed the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. So this eliminates intermediate range nuclear missiles, and the relations between the two countries improved because of that.
Which is funny. So long range is still okay.
They're fine.
Short range is fine.
Totally fine.
So you can shoot it from a sub, or you can shoot it from your home turf. But
Intermediate out.
nothing that's
I know.
nothing in between the two.
Then we get a boost. We're 1990, 10 minutes. This is the fall of the Berlin Wall and the Iron Curtain. This reunification of Germany means that the Cold War is nearing its end. So that bolsters us and gives us to 10 minutes to midnight. 1995, we go all the way up to 14 minutes to midnight because global military spending continues at Cold War levels and post-Soviet nuclear proliferation of weapons and brain power. So it's kind of like this lull. So they add time because there's really nothing. There's no big fallout happening at this time. Then we've got India and Pakistan testing nuclear weapons in 1998, back down to 9. So the United States and Russia at this time run into difficulties further reducing stockpiles as well because everyone's testing. 2002, back down to 7 because we just have little progress on this global nuclear disarmament. The United States, we rejected a series of arms control treaties, announced its intentions to withdraw from the anti-ballistic missile treaty. So we're kind of ramping up again where we're just kind of sticking where we're at. 2007, we go down to 5 minutes to midnight because North Korea tests a nuclear weapon. So Iran's nuclear ambitions at this time are also kind of ramping up. And after assessing the dangers posed to civilization, climate change in 2007 was added to the prospect of nuclear annihilation as one of the greatest threats to mankind.
Now, I want to take a second. How does climate change add to the nuclear part?
Well, I think it's added to the clock in addition to the nuclear part at this time. So it's like it could go nuclear or it could go climate change.
Now, okay, I'm not speaking out against climate change, but if you're building a nuclear clock that's only going to adjust itself according to war, but it's never going to adjust itself according to the famine that happened in North Africa all through the 90s.
Right.
So then you're going to add climate change onto it, which makes me think that either A, your climate change added to it is just for activism, or B, your nuclear clock is just for activism.
Or A and B. Answer C.
Because remember
both A and B.
That big famine that happened through Ethiopia right now, and for the last 2 years, there has been the largest civil war on earth in Ethiopia right now, today.
Yeah.
And that's
not even taken into account.
You could argue, now they don't have nuclear weapons, but you could argue it's fallout from that famine.
Yes.
That famine that took down Somalia, that caused Shad to do some stuff.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I do.
That's why I'm arguing.
Is this,
if you're going to add that in, is it just for activism, or is the whole clock just for activism?
Oh, it could be. So then we go through this period of 7 years where it's +1, -1, -2, +2. And it's because we have this 2009 United Nations Climate Change Conference. It feels cooperative. So they add a minute, and then they take a minute because the weapons stockpiles still haven't been detonated or destroyed. And then they add a minute for this other treaty, and then they take a minute when Donald Trump comments over his comments over nuclear weapons.
The only president in our lifetimes that didn't get us involved in a new foreign engagement.
Yeah, and it's stated here that
just like when they gave the Nobel Prize to Obama, and then he went on to take us from 2 foreign engagements to 7.
Yeah.
Nobel Peace Prize.
So it says because he expressed disbelief in the scientific consensus over climate change. That's it. Clock goes down.
That's why I don't trust this clock.
Yeah. Then we have, more going down during Trump's administration because of the Russian nuclear modernization efforts and the cyber warfare that was claimed to have been from Russia. 2023, we go down to, this says 90 seconds. This is due to, but not exclusively, the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine and the increased risk of nuclear escalation stemming from that conflict. Russia also brought war to Chernobyl and another nuclear reactor site, which violated international protocols and risked widespread release of radioactive material. North Korea also resumed its nuclear rhetoric, launching an intermediate range ballistic missile test over Japan. And these continued threats posed by the climate crisis and the breakdown of global norms and institutions. And then COVID-19 also contributed to this time setting.
I'm telling you, this is, I was a firm believer in this nuclear clock until I looked into it more, and I thought,
yeah,
these guys, they meant well. I think in the beginning they were dead on, and it was just a measure on how much tensions are involved with nuclear powers.
But adding other things to it arbitrarily.
Yeah. Well, I think somewhere in the 80s it became activism, because if you look into how Reagan was in the 80s with nuclear powers, I mean, Reagan and Gorbachev were outstanding. They had many times told many of their aides, I don't care if they launch on us, I'm not launching. Many times. And this is all recorded, but the scientific community sees Republican and their panties twist and climb right up their butthole.
Quick!
And that's
turn
what we
the
get out of them.
Forward.
I mean, look at how many good scientists we lost over the last pandemic that we went through. How many good scientists and doctors did we lose? How much discourse, how much trust in our medical institutions did we lose?
I wonder how many countries put stock in this metaphorical clock.
I don't think many, honestly. I think they probably see through it.
Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope that there are not leaders who look at this clock and go, well, that's it. Get them ready. The clock's down to 90 seconds.
No, and also these scientists, it's not like these scientists are in the offices of leadership where they hear what's going on and what's happening behind closed doors. And so they can see these scientists are just on a whim. Oh, we haven't had enough attention this year. So, or we need to get our profits up. So let's, change a second or two.
And we're not the only ones who question the validity of this. Cognitive psychologist Steven Pinker harshly criticized the doomsday clock as a political stunt.
Yeah.
Pointing to the words of its founders that its purpose was to preserve civilization by scaring men into rationality. He stated that it is simply inconsistent and not based on any objective indicators of security, using as an example its being farther from midnight in 1962 during the Cuban Missile Crisis than the far calmer 2007. So he argued it was another example of humanity's tendency toward historical pessimism and compared it to other predictions of self-destruction that went unfulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah, Steven Pinker's an interesting guy. If you haven't yet, read one of his books, or you can even just watch one of his TED Talks or something. He does a lot of statistics. I made it through that one just fine.
Good job.
And he does a lot of that, and he says on every metric we're doing better.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
it's interesting.
There's hiccups, but
it's interesting that this doomsday clock grabs your attention.
Well, it's funny how they moved it to the closest it's ever been.
Yeah.
90 seconds or 100 seconds to midnight. And midnight is the worst case. That's nuclear bombs
nukes are launching.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It does grab your attention, but I would agree that it probably, like most measurement, metaphoric measurement devices, started out with great intentions and ended up being used for political prowess.
And I think you're right. Everything is used for. I mean, I'm watching scientists that I used to follow religiously just come apart and lose all common sense. Sam Harris is one. I may not have ever really been with him on a political level, but on things he said always made rational sense to me. And during COVID and during Trump, he fell off that wagon where he never stepped back and took a calm, rational look at what was going on.
That rabbit hole, the rabbit hole will suck you in either direction.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
see
really,
people on the right do it all the time.
Yeah.
But you expect that from just partisans.
Yes.
You don't expect it from a neurological scientist.
Yeah.
And that's where it's shocking to me.
Can happen to any of us.
And it can.
Yep.
But I've got some fun internet.
Okay, let's read some comments.
Okay,
first.
we'll read some comments.
Hi, King.
Hi,
King. Lori.
Hi, Lori. Okay. Lori says, I guess Bill Gates is not on their list.
Listen. He may be.
He seems to swim in all waters.
Especially the murky ones.
Yes. All waters of human destruction or control.
Yeah. He's got his little.
He's a
his
fish.
Bony little lady fingers in it.
King says the ancients knew. Lori said, please tell me they added minutes when We Are the World was released.
I doubt it.
If they didn't, it is pure activism.
100%. Because We Are the World changed everything. I remember that. All of them singing, We Are the World.
We were in
got
junior
Stevie
high.
Wonder.
Yeah. King says, remember there was a scientist that said Terminator was based on a real event in history.
It was a documentary.
Yes. I imagine there's a documentarian who shoots in a ball of lightning back into the 80s and makes that movie according to what's going to happen in the next couple of years.
It may have been Barron Trump.
Ooh.
I'm just saying.
Maybe that's how he travels, naked in a ball of lightning, ball of plasma. Shows up and burns
like
the
that
ground.
one show where they come down in those pods and they come out of the swimming pool and they're just covered in goo.
Oh, was that Cocoon?
Yes.
Yeah. Not near as good a documentary
I
as.
know.
Well, at least most of us will be in bed when the bombs drop.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no faith on what we make it. And then a good comment comes in on the Facebook. Ryan says,
hi, Ryan.
We are the only country to put a nuclear warhead that could be shot out of Kennedy. Yes, we had 155 and 105 millimeter nuclear artillery. It went away because
it If the fallout touches you,
yeah,
it's not far enough.
Artillery can shoot about 30 miles. So, slight change in the wind, and next thing you know, you're
in downwind. You're in the hot zone.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike.
Yep, Mike. How you doing?
Oh.
All right, but I've got to get to this. News.
Jared's been digging up news stories.
I have been on the internet now. Fatal flaw. When they gave me the internet, they should not have. And for those of you watching, I am showing this one on screen, so you can verify it with me.
No.
It is called HMP, the Human Meat Project. People for people, Betsy.
You can give people you?
People for people. All right.
Like, is it all of you or parts of you?
Register your choices. It's got register your choices, making a donation, end date and harvest time, privacy and consent, and the donors list.
Okay.
One body can feed up to 40 people, Betsy. Donate now. Together, we could end world starvation, overpopulation, and climate change.
I can't.
In an asterisk, they've got based on average weight of 55 kilograms, height of 165 centimeters.
I need to see the nutrition facts.
Should we first explore?
Let's register our choices. Oh my gosh.
How to order a person?
No. Okay, so I want to donate for human consumption.
Whole
Choice
body
A,
and organs.
Whole body and organs.
Only certain body parts. I'm going to donate my fourth point of contact.
The old rusty balloon knot. What's the nutritional?
What's
the nutritional facts about?
Slide it on a stick with an onion on one side, and you might want to go with a pineapple chunk on the other to,
sweeten it up a bit.
Yeah, and shish kebab.
I suggest cleaning thoroughly, like you do tripe.
A Jared kebab.
Only certain body parts. First name, last name, email. Date of birth, place of birth, blood type?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that may be, for the vampires, Betsy.
Yuck.
You're an O, right?
I'm an O.
I'm an A.
Yeah.
Gender, country of origins, your race and ethnicity.
Height and weight.
Now, if we put in next.
Residential area.
Where do you live? Are you breathing in brake dust all the time because you live in a city?
Are you extra salty because you live at the beach?
Yes. I think they would call that brined.
This is gross.
Do you live in a forest, a town, suburban, a farm, mountain, or desert? Activity level. Are you sedentary, lightly active, moderate, very active, or extra active?
Are you the Wagyu of the human experience?
Are you Wagyu or grass-fed? Body type, lean, muscular, bodybuilder, athletic, lean, underweight, overweight, obese.
Oh, what do you eat? A fruitarian?
Yes. What is your diet? Balanced, carnivore, fruitarian, like Betsy said, lacto-vegetarianism. That means a vegetarian that eats some types of dairy.
But excludes eggs and foods which contain animal
rennet. I don't know what rennet is.
Parts and pieces.
Ovo-vegetarian, a vegetarian that includes eggs.
A kangatarian? Is that even a thing?
Okay.
In addition to foods permissible in a vegetarian diet, kangaroo meat is also consumed? A kangatarian?
A vegetarian that eats kangaroo. As you do.
A poultarian, someone who eats chicken and other poultry but not meat from mammals?
Okay.
I can't do this.
Polo-pescatarian.
This is the gender studies of the food world.
Paleo, Mediterranean, raw, low carb, low sodium.
I would have to go in unbalanced.
Do you currently use tobacco? Do you drink? Do you use drugs? Oh boy, they go deep in.
Oh, do you have any of these following?
Okay,
tuberculosis, cancer.
Do you have HIV or AIDS? Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease?
Scroll down. I want to see if it put. Did you get the jabby jab?
Oh.
Go up.
Okay.
Scroll down on that menu on the right.
Oh, rabies, mad cow. You're gonna give people mad cow. We've studied that. Okay, no, it doesn't.
It doesn't have. Okay.
That's diabetes or mad cow. Have
Cancer,
you ever been treated for it?
Operations, prescription medications, hormone medication. I cannot. Okay, so this is if you want to
donate yourself.
Donate.
If you want to become cuisine.
Go to the donors list.
You want to go right there, huh? Okay, thus far.
Ribs.
Okay.
White from the Netherlands, suburban lifestyle, lightly active. Cooking.
Average body type. I think I would like my ribs to be served as spare ribs with a light barbecue glaze.
Human meat. Upper arm?
Upper arm.
He's Hawaiian.
Yes, we got a Hawaiian upper arm.
He's been brined. He was at the beach.
Yes, yes. Uh-huh.
Oh, brain.
We got to write them. They've got to do the brined instead of beach.
You shouldn't eat brains, though. Don't they have prions?
Yeah. Nothing but prions. It's a female.
From
she was
Ecuador?
An L vegetarian. I don't know what that means. She was also overweight. Just vegetarian overweight.
Lived in the mountain.
How did that happen? Living in the mountains.
Shoulder.
Okay. 28 female.
Click on one of these. How do we buy? Do we just click on it?
I don't think these are, maybe these are people you buy. I don't know. Let's see what happens if I click. There's this little light up thing. Oh.
Okay.
That just opens up the barcode. So I'm getting an IKEA dresser. Now this was all last year. Used by, so these are all like last year, 2021. I do like how this looks more like a organ donation tag that you'd find on that cooler of the guy who's racing across town.
Uh-huh. Oh, click on that end date.
End date and
observation and regulation.
Let's see. Okay. Before end date services and harvesting, the donor will live in our observation and regulation unit for 2 months. This sounds like that movie where they pick up the homeless guy and hunt them.
Dude. Every donor will be prepared mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to be eaten. They're going to evaluate your physical quality.
What is this? They've got a picture of like a baby delivery.
Baby.
What is this?
What are you
How did that sneak in there?
Okay, click on safety and quality control. I must know. How we select our donors, quality of life, rating system, health risk, rejected donation. They can't have cancer.
Active cancer. If the donor has partial remission, they will have to wait to a minimum of 1 year.
Okay, I need the nutritional facts.
One body can feed up to 40 people.
No, it can't.
An average adult male, 65 kilograms, which would be 65. You can usually look at kilograms to be like...
It can feed up to 40 people one meal, maybe.
I think a kilogram is like 2.3 pounds or something like that. So that'd be a, 140 pound dude.
Human meat is cruelty and slaughter free.
Human meat often understated for its nutritions. Human meat protein and fat density could have the same or better than other convenient meat products like beef, chicken, or pork.
How did you find this? What does your web search look like?
We don't need
What are you searching for?
we don't need to go into this, Betsy. We don't need to go too deep. The internet is an amazing place.
This is really gross. Oh, well,
yeah, it's
King says, well, this is nothing new. If you eat McDonald's, you're eating human flesh. Because if you do the math, there's not enough cows to feed most of the restaurants they have. So where's the meat coming from? You know, King, I would like to personally believe that it's pigeons. All right?
Never see a cat by some of them restaurants. So.
Pigeons or cats. I hope it's not human. Yuck.
Seriously,
That's
is wild.
So gross.
It is, but I had to bring that up, Betsy. I had to. I know
you're on a watch list somewhere now. I'm sure of it.
Oh, I'm probably on all the watch lists right now, Betsy.
Oh.
All right. So let's go back to this doomsday clock.
So what do we know about the doomsday clock? We know that it's been around since 1947. We know that the clock's timekeepers are this board of atomic scientists, and this fictional clock, ticks forward and backwards, and we know that it's kind of arbitrary on what information goes into the doomsday. But we also know that things are heating up.
Now, that is true. There is no lie that, okay, we just okayed to send tanks to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Germany even backed down and sent tanks to Ukraine. And the German, one of their ministers of whatever, I don't know, they're one of them weird countries, actually stated that they are at war with Russia. Now, could that have been a misspeak or a mistranslation? Sure. But it's shocking that they said that.
Yeah, so things are heating up. We also know that any dog backed into a corner with absolutely nowhere to go is going to bite.
Yeah.
And this advancement, this kind of everyone advancing on Putin at once, gives us the feeling that he may be feeling like this dog backed into a corner.
Now, the one thing I would argue is that he obviously, well, it would be unfair for me to say that he put himself in that corner completely, because there has been moves made on the global stage against Russia for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I would argue for the last 30 years, but we'll just go, there's been moves made that, blocking him off from ports and all that, which granted, they really aren't his to take, but he's asserting that. So I don't know. It is one of those mixed bags where it's hard to find a good guy.
Yeah.
And that's the ugly part of it. I'm not seeing someone I can root for or cheer for in this.
Yeah. So let's finish this up with, does everyone know what day it is?
It's February 2nd.
It's Groundhog's Day.
Is it really?
So we're going to talk about the top 5 to end this show. The top 5
I've got another story
mishaps
before you do that.
For the groundhog.
Okay, before you do that, then I've got another story I've got to talk about. Because again, Jared was on the internet.
Jared.
And headlines. Australians want to give carp herpes after floods wash thousands of fish on a beach.
Okay, say that again.
Australians want to give carp herpes after floods wash thousands of fish on beach.
Okay, is this like a punishment for them being on the beach, or is there a purpose? Like, we hate you. You were giving you herpes. Is it because they have big lips?
They like it. They like the Botox face.
I don't understand this.
It's been raining a lot in Australia. Lots of carp are washing up on the sea.
Does herpes kill carp?
So now we understand that it's a bizarre idea. So let's take a step back and start from the beginning. Carp didn't show up to Australia till 1859. Apparently in Europe and places that are a lot of Europe, they like the taste of carp.
Ew. Okay. Okay.
You know, out here we
Eat
don't.
the board.
Yeah.
I've read the recipe.
Anyways, let's see why they.
My brain cannot connect those dots.
Carp are super abundant right now because floods give them access to floodplain habitats. There, each large female can spawn millions of eggs and the young have high survival rates. So, if they throw some herpes in there, herpes is a deadly virus. In the end, somebody came up with the idea, since carp seemingly can't stop procreating, why not infect them with a lethal STD? Okay, the name of the herpes virus they're giving it is cyprinid herpes virus 3, carp herpes.
Carp herpes. 2 words.
Kind of like when those 2 French guys gave the monkey pox to their dog. Anyways.
Oh, no.
On paper, giving carp herpes sound like a fantastic plan. The virus is extremely lethal and effectively kills off carp. After carp catches herpes, the virus will incubate for 1 to 2 weeks. Once the first symptoms appear, including red gills, excessive mucus secretion, and patches of necrotic skin, they're dead within 24 hours. So, does it only affect carp, or will it decimate your inland waters? One question. 2,
what happens to this virus after it leaches out of the carp?
Yes, and all of the fish dead in the water, what is that going to do to your water table and the other fish in the water?
And the birds that eat the fish.
Yeah.
The creatures that crawl in, and the predators that scavenge.
Now, we understand you're Australian. Last time you declared war on a bird, you lost. Don't.
There's got to be. How about
Australia cannot go to war against animals? Australia declared war on the emu with their military and lost twice.
Okay, there's these cool things. They're made of like thread and filament, and they're called nets.
Yeah, catch the fish, filter the fish, figure it out.
Catch the fish, take them somewhere, and burn them, bury them.
Give out free carp fishing licenses.
Eat them. Do what you will, but I don't think introducing an STD into a waterway and killing the fish is the answer. I'm not a scientist, though, so.
And how long until we get the news story? Oh, the carp herpes jumped species, and now everyone put on a mask. And
Coyote bit child gave him carp herpes.
Yeah, just like those 2 Frenchmen gave it to a dog. Anyway, did you hear about those? Man, I'm not even going on this story. Okay, anyway, so right now there's an AI argument, discussion, kind of theoretical thing going on the internet. So there is a Twitch streamer called Pokimane.
Okay.
I don't know who this is. I've never seen them, but it's exploded across the interwebs. A friend of hers who's also married had he was doing a stream. He's a interneter like us, you know. He's probably better than us, but
he's an interneter.
But he jumped to a screen and showed it on his tabs. He had been watching AI porn of this girl. Now he's a married guy, and they're like, the girl, the Pokimane, is friends with his wife.
And there's an AI of her?
I guess there's AIs of anyone of note. Or those deep fake porn.
Yeah.
So the question now is kind of a philosophical question. When is that not okay? When do you cross a line? Now, obviously, he crossed that with his wife, but when is it? When is a computer generating nude pictures of you?
I think my likeness is intellectual property.
Is it? But like if someone takes a picture of you out on the street where it's legal.
If I'm nude at the time,
but
then I have given away my intellectual property.
Someone else is nude.
If I am not nude, if I am fully clothed, then putting my face on that is my intellectual property. But it's
not you nude.
I know.
So that's
But it is posing as me nude.
Sure, but I mean, I don't know. That's the philosophical debate that's up right now. I mean, okay. I think we're going to have to see laws written about how this works. And I'm not disagreeing with you.
I think it's creepy. And I think that
gross.
Anytime something is
His
creepy and gross.
His wife is probably going to ditch him for it because it's one of her friends. I mean, how would you feel if your husband was
watching your
seeking
AI
out illicit pictures of your friend?
Dude, creep fact, it's just pagan over here.
I know it's creepy, it's gross, but
is it illegal?
Where is the line?
So I think, and I've always thought, and I think this about a lot of things, that just because it's legal doesn't mean it's right.
Well, there's lots of that.
And we can't always govern those things that are legal and wrong. And so we just have to roll with it.
Here's the question. I would like them to codify. I would like to have, if we're going to approach this, I would like to have it codified so that if a lady is taken advantage of in this manner, or a guy, I don't know why anybody would, but if they're because let's face it, guys are the gross ones. If a person is taken advantage of in this manner, they can seek some recompense.
Yes. Yeah. Oy.
Right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what is she going to do? Is she going to sue a website that says, one, it might be an AI making it, which is coming out now. I mean, they've got AIs that do your voice, that they've got
no one to really blame.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there would not be these things happening if there were not an audience partaking in them. So I think any change, real change, is not done through codifying specific laws. I think real change happens with humanity embracing humanity. And that is much harder to do.
I would argue.
Stop being gross.
I would argue that'll never happen.
Never.
You know the first law put through by our Postmaster General?
What?
During the Civil War, quit sending nudes to our soldiers on the front. That was the first law.
That's what I'm saying.
Postmaster General, you could mail anything, and then he said, okay, we're getting inundated with naked pictures. Black and white, probably paintings.
We just got to be we just got to do better as humans.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Now, but so this is a big argument, and this falls into the AI thing. How long before AI makes it to where one,
you can't tell
the OnlyFans thing?
It's history.
That won't be a secret means to get rich. Nope. I mean, it's already threatening. Like
it'll be a dude running an AI from his mother's basement.
Well, you've heard
eating
of that,
a pizza.
That Andrew Tate guy, right?
Yeah.
And he ran some naked girl site.
Yeah.
Well, he talked about it, and he talked about how he would get these guys on the hook, and the girl would hop on, work for an hour, taking naked pictures, whatever. And then it was him or his brother or another dude that was messaging back and forth as her. So this dude is thinking he's getting romantic with a lady, but it's another dude.
Cannot.
And so how long until the lady's out of the picture?
Oh, it's already happening. It's guaranteed.
Well, they've got those. I keep getting ads on my phone for what do they call it? An AI girlfriend, essentially. There's a couple of websites now that
it's because of your internet searches.
You would think I would get ads for cannibal stuff lately, but
they're still developing those.
But the ads come through on TikTok and Facebook, but they're like, there's we talked about it on the show once, the cell phone girlfriend thing.
Yeah. Listen, if we get to that point, I'm going to be praying that clock just go tick, 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 boom.
But if all humans quit breeding and the humanity dies off, there's no nuclear war. No problem. Problem solved.
Look at it.
And climate change. Bill Gates has been fighting for it forever.
Solved.
And it's not even like our leaders are as pure as the driven snow. Look at Bill Gates. He chose to take a lot of vacations down to a certain island with a certain temple on it. The used to be Prince of England, was in on those things.
Yep.
Probably a president that we once upon a time had.
That's why I'm saying these laws don't affect the market share of creepos. They don't. As humans, we have got to be better. Creepos, pay attention. Stop it.
I think in order to
but they
eliminate
do it because
creepos,
there's a market.
Well, first we'd have to figure out where the first creepo came. Seriously, because I think the creepy's in every man. And maybe a couple women here and there, but I think it's inherent in every man. And every man has to choose to fight it.
Yes.
And has to choose to say, that's not something I want to partake in or be a part of.
Yeah. Because really, the supply and demand is driven by the demand.
That's true. It's like what's the appropriate term for it now? The maps.
Oh yeah.
There would be no child abuse without child abusers.
Correct.
And I don't know, how do you deal with this?
Well, religion doesn't work. Laws don't work.
I would argue religion had a percentage of working.
I would argue religion gave them a cover.
Probably a few, but I would argue true believers, there was a percentage of it working. I think the leaders did what leaders do in every leader organization. Yeah. They abused to their heart's content. But I think that, I don't know. How do you ingrain morality into people? I mean, if we crack that code, every problem solved.
It's a shot. It's a vaccine.
Of course.
Yep.
It's got to have certain, I don't know, killed over suddenly stuff. King says.
King.
Very crazy stuff. Herpes going to spread. Bill Murray remembers this day.
Yes.
Well, remember, many top guys have been wanting population control, and that's a fact. They have.
It is, but to me, it doesn't make sense anymore because we are in population decline.
Yeah, it's happening.
So you can stop now.
All they got to do is just sit back. It's crazy when we look at the cameras. You are very white. I'm glowing. Yes.
I don't understand. I'm not much paler than you are.
We are 13 months apart. Oh, you're a lot paler than I am.
Maybe I need more sun.
Maybe you need any sun. All right, run us home, Captain Transparent.
Okay. That's Mrs. Captain Transparent to you. Okay, so Groundhog's Day.
Uh-huh.
It's not only Ponsatani Phil. Lots of cities have groundhogs.
Really?
Under different names.
How did Ponsatani Phil become the most popular?
I think just because he's got a cool name.
Because of Ponsatani?
Yeah.
Isn't that in Delaware?
Yeah. So, February 2nd is Groundhog's Day. 2009, Staten Island Chuck, that's his name.
Not as cool as Ponsatani.
Not as cool as Ponsatani. The mayor reached in to grab him, and he bit a chunk out of the mayor's finger. 2015, Mayor Jonathan Freud of Wisconsin. Wisconsin, don't you know? Jimmy was this groundhog's name. And he was holding Jimmy, and Jimmy...
Bit a nipple.
Bit an ear.
Bit an ear. Oh, God.
Yeah, and he flung him across the stage.
Killed him. Dead on impact. It's going to snow a lot here now.
So, 2014, back to Chuck. Mayor Bill de Blasio flinched as the handler placed Chuck in his arms. And Chuck fell to the ground and actually died.
No, that's awful. De Blasio's
Yeah.
moron anyway. I mean, old people killer. Go on.
2016, Ed, the groundhog in West Orange, New Jersey, overslept, missed the ceremony. Otis, the groundhog, had to fill in.
Oh, they've got
a backup.
A stand-in.
Yeah.
What do they call it in the second or whatever? I'm not leaving my trailer until I get this carrot.
So, 2016, Stonewall Jackson of New Jersey. They reached in to grab him, and he was dead.
You don't think to check that first?
They pulled out a dead groundhog. But this year, Ponsatani Phil, who, by the way, has not had any mishaps. He shows up. He doesn't bite people.
I'm telling you.
He's been replaced several times. He's actually a female. At any rate.
Philina.
6 more weeks of winter. Boo. I don't know what the accuracy of that is, but it does feel pretty freaking cold, so I would probably agree.
I just got a plow for my side-by-side.
Thank you, Philomena.
So, at least I'll get my money's worth for that investment.
Anyway,
yeah.
Hope everyone has a great week. Doomsday. Think about it. Don't think about it. You can't change it. So,
I've got to learn smoke signals, and you guys got to learn to read them.
Yes, in the event that we are from the wasteland.
Or we can do it like they did on Lord of the Rings, where we light mountaintops on fire with big stacks of wood. And
God, that'd be a long show.
People on the other side of this valley would be 4 hours late.
Right.
I wonder if King says, I wonder if people have slipped into a time slip like Bill Murray did in the movie. There's been lots of TV series, movies, books, and cartoons on this subject.
Perhaps.
That's a question. I wonder, is time loopable? Because it's kind of a law of the universe. It kind of fits in with gravity and all that other stuff.
Loopable, bendable, twistable.
Yeah.
Zip it, pop it, twist it.
Many top guys have said that the most stuff in movies and books are true. So that makes you think. Yeah.
Documentaries.
And then you get to see that How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And that's a nightmare. Yeah. But
all right, guys.
That's the show, folks.
That's a wrap.
So
have a great week.
Hold on. Let's finish this out. We're thinking about changing the days.
Yeah, kind of tossing that around to maybe Mondays.
Yeah. So Betsy's, picking up duties down at her day job, and my duties are I can pick my times. So Betsy's got the McDonald's menu on her computer.
I do. In the event that I want to order human meat.
In the event that she wants a man burger. But so if you guys, we're thinking about Mondays, we might switch to Mondays. And knowing us, it'll probably be a surprise to everyone when we do.
Even us.
Especially us. All right. But have a good weekend. Be safe. And
Happy Groundhog
Human
Day.
Meat Project, if you want to donate.
Yuck. Don't.
If you want to live on forever, as it were. I have always said, I won't donate, but I will sell.
That's right.